the physicists, they know when they watch the sky, they can understand only 5% of what's happening in the sky. And I think we understand only 5% of what we are living or what we are, 5%, of course, because otherwise I'm sure we would be able to do incredible things if we were,
Welcome to Locarno Meets, a movie podcast brought to you by UBS from the Locarno Film Festival. Irène Jacob is a legendary actor, famous for her work with some of the most celebrated auteurs of the last 50 years. She joined us to reflect on a career that is only speeding up. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
So you're in Locarno to receive the Leopard Club Award. Congratulations.
Grazie mille. Grazie mille.
I think, it's the 30th anniversary of Three Colours Red, and I believe it screened at Locarno 30 years ago. Can you remember that event?
Of course, yes. It was my first time in Locarno, and we presented Three Colours Red on the big Piazza Grande, and we were together with Krzysztof Kieślowski, and it was really emotional to see this venue and the crowd and the screening. And it will be very moving, of course, to come back to present also this film, this 30 years later. I present this film often, I have to say. Krzysztof Kieślowski's work is always presented, and it belongs to a cinema that is always alive, and that's very moving to see and to realize. His cinema has really changed my perception of cinema. This cinema about the mystery of human beings, but in a very everyday way,
Yeah.
and the mystery of the simple things. I think this his way of looking at the people and at the world really transformed me, and I was very impressed. Of course, doing these two films with him and presenting it at Locarno was really incredible.
I mean, there's a bit in that film where your character is given a premonition of her life in 25 years, and it's now been 30 years, and I wonder if your perception of the film has matured over that time.
Well,
it's changed.
I haven't seen the film again because it would be a bit strange for me, even though I would watch other films from Krzysztof Kieślowski with pleasure, but it's a bit strange to watch. I wouldn't understand who's on screen today, it's a bit strange, but I'm glad to present it often. This is, and you're right. I remember this line where the judge Jean-Louis Trintignant says, "I've dreamt about you, and you were 50, and you were happy." And I was 25 at the time, and it looked like, wow, when is 50, But we met again with Jean-Louis Trintignant. I think something like 8 years ago, I went to visit him in his house in south of France, and I came every year to say hi, and he reminded me of this sentence that he used to say. He had memorized it, and I was like, wow, this is really nice. It's really nice to have this appointment sometimes in life with where you concentrate again on something that's happened a long time before, and it's like yesterday. It's very moving when it happens. It's something that time allows. Yeah. Sometimes to see a friend again, to see, but it's true. When Jean-Louis reminded me of this sentence, I thought, this is nice, and this is nice to have that someone said to me this line.
Yeah.
Yeah. I dreamt of you at 50 and you were happy.
At the time, I know all of the trilogy came out quite quickly, but being the final film in this trilogy, there was such a phenomenon. Did you feel pressure around the release of the film?
Well, I was impressed, let's say. It was... I was impressed. It was new, meaning I had no experience at all of what would be, meaning for an international release. And I thought, so I was, I was very impressed, I have to say.
Did you like the international attention and acclaim that came with it, or is it a double-edged sword?
Well, I enjoyed it, and at the same time, I was intimidated also by it. Meaning, it's true that I remember my brother, who lives in New York, said, the New York Times is showing a picture of it every day. So I feel like New York Times is my friend and my family, the newspaper. And I was like, this is so funny. And it's true that it's amazing. Sometimes I go in very far away country. It can be Japan, China, or, Brazil, and people, or Cambodia, and that to see that these films have traveled there and they know, and it's very moving, this. Now, at the time when I was 24 and I was opening my wings to cinema, I didn't know. Of course, I was intimidated, I have to say.
I mean, from the outside, it kind of looks as though you had a fast and impressive start to a film career, with Au revoir les enfants and Double Life of Veronique and Red, as we talked about. But at the time, did it feel like you were making clever, curated choices, or did it feel out of control and something that was happening to you?
It was not under control completely, I would say, in the sense that I was going intuitively a lot. It's not like I had, like my son, I can see they have a very clever agent who knows exactly where to go, and everything is kind of really accompanied. I felt when I was a young actress that a lot was on my intuition and how I would feel things. And I think I did the way I felt. I can't say it was the best control way, but let's say I realized also that life, to borrow a mathematician vocabulary, is an equation of many things. So of course there's your work as an actress, but there is also the place where you live, the person you're falling in love with, maybe the child you're going to have. All these things make you see things differently. I don't think it's a decision. No, it's not a decision. It's just like it goes this way. But I have to say that now I'm quite. I feel recently, like this year, I felt very gifted to work with Rithy Panh, and this director that I really admired, that is very adventurous, that is poetic. And we did this film in Cambodia, and with the culture, the story of Cambodia. And also I've done 2 plays and now 2 films with Amos Gitai, one that I'm going to present in Venice, Why War? And again, working with these last years with these 2 directors who are pursuing a long-lasting reflection on a particular subject, on a particular hope, maybe on a particular dialogue, was very. I felt, wow, this is nice to be there right now. Meaning, I think it happens at a moment where our kids are now grown up, and they can also go freely, and suddenly opens up also adventures where I have to go far away for a long time, and far away also in my venture. So it's interesting how it happens. Things happen at different times, and you adapt. You don't know that you are adapting, but you do.
This is quite a 3 Colors Red philosophy.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Tell us about meeting Pol Pot. You play a journalist, right, who's invited to Cambodia to meet the dictator.
That's right. It's Rithy Panh has dedicated his work in a way, to the memory of this terrible years of massacres and dictatorship with the Khmer Rouge. He was 13 years old. So, and then he left, and then he became a director. And so he's he believes that you cannot speak about horror with the horror tools because it's too much for people. Reality is beyond what you can take as a spectator. So you have to find a poetic way, or some poetic doesn't mean nice way. It's just a metaphorical way for people to get involved and to imagine also their perception of what it could be like. And he's invented a fantastic vocabulary in his films. And this film is about the press, journalism. It's a true story. Journalists who were invited to meet Pol Pot because they needed the country had been closed for 3 years, and they needed suddenly the help of NATO. And my character is inspired from Elisabeth Becker, this American journalist, even though I play a French journalist in the film. And I met her. She was wonderful. And it's about how it's difficult to be in a country where the propaganda is so strong that you don't see anything, but you have a feeling that something is really going wrong. But nobody wants, it's invisible. So that's interesting how she said that, I felt, she said all the time that what was horrible is what I wasn't seeing, you know. Everything was so invisible, and I could, you know. So it was it's a beautiful film. I think it will be released in Switzerland in October, and I was very impressed to work with him.
There must be a burden of responsibility when you're working on a film like that about such kind of a significant and dreadful slice of history.
This is why, of course, you go to Cambodia, but it's not only of what I said of going far away. It's going far away somewhere else. You have to suddenly the whole crew has this horrible story was only 40 years ago. So everybody has a link, has a direct connection.
Everybody knows a family member. Or
so it's about it's about telling a story together. I think it's recently. I think having worked with recently with Amos Gitai or Rithy Panh, that I connect completely with other directors with whom I have worked, who take the mystery, who put the mystery at the center of their work. Let's say we can call it metaphorical work, or we can call it poetic way storytelling. It's just to say that you cannot only reasonably explain every story. As we say, the physicists, they know when they watch the sky, they can understand only 5% of what's happening in the sky. And I think we understand only 5% of what we are living, or what we are, 5%, of course, because otherwise I'm sure we would be able to do incredible things if we were, so I like this idea to always put the mystery at the core of a storytelling.
Does that make it more complex to play a character?
No, because mystery is what we live all the time. No. I just say this is just it's just a choice. Either you choose that you're in control of everything, and you're this kind of character, or you choose that you don't know a lot, and this is a start and look, right? I think you can. It's like when people say you can look at the glass half full or half empty.
Sure.
I think you can look at what you know, or you can look at all that you don't know, and there start to work. And look. And I think some directors like this way of storytelling, and so it's a venture. A nice venture also for the spectator, because we are going to make a film that we don't know exactly before how it's going to be.
Yeah.
It's not like as planned,
No, it's a more humble and realistic approach to the world.
It's an adventurous also way. Yeah.
And you've got another film coming out this year as well, right? Which you shot in Israel in 2023
That's right.
during the protest there.
Yeah, there was a film of Philippe Lesage, also from Quebec, that was that's released right now in Paris. That was also in Berlin, called Comme le Feu. And recently I've done 2 plays and 2 films with Amos Gitai, and he's pursuing always this dialogue and reflection on how Palestine and Israel could live together. He has always done work with Palestinian and Israelis, and it's not easy to and he does it. And we've done 2 plays together, two films, and one was Shikun in Berlin, and this one is called Why War. It's going to be released in Venice, but this is not a story. This is not a fiction. It's a film that's been made in urgency during
the war.
Yeah, in May, saying we have to do something. It's rather a film of it's a shared reflection. It's about the letters that Einstein wrote to Freud to say why war. And so Mathieu Amalric is playing Freud, and Michel Lescaut is playing Einstein. And to include women as well, even though
it wasn't Freud's favorite.
Yeah, it's I'm taking a lot of reflection from Virginia Woolf and Susan Sontag, and it's about this is really a poetic reflection. It's not an answer, definitely not. We don't know at the end of the film why war, but just to keep this question alive is maybe what the film does. Yeah.
Is it an intimidating thing to dive into political topics like that through art?
I would never be able to do it on my own like this. I trust to do it only because I'm working with directors who dedicated, in this case, 40 years or 50 years of their lives on this reflection. So it's not like a new reflection or an opportunistic way of saying, hey, let's do this. I would be completely frightened because you never know. It can be really delicate and bad. You have to be very careful. So it's true that I was impressed to say, okay, I can be really trustful because they've been thinking for 50 years and they know what is the dialogue, what is the topic, what is the subject, and what is the energy, the burning energy, because they've lived through it. So it's when I speak with Rithy Panh, of even recently, we were so afraid with the extreme right in France, and he knows what is ideology and how it looks with a nice smile and how it suddenly can turn. And he was, but I liked the way he was. I was trusting. I like to. It's good to discuss with people who have an experience already, and who are now choosing to look at the light, knowing what is the shade, and yeah.
Is trust the most important thing between an actor and a director?
It's the first and the only thing, I would say. There is nothing else. Like when trust is there, it's like you're right to ask this question, because I think this is the beautiful thing in this work, because. Sometimes you work in a film that is a bit more, that has a big schedule, big crew. You don't have time to discuss. There is 3 directors, and it's like, so you're there on and you're supposed to make your work well and just suggest, like in jazz, I would say, where you're just playing. Okay, let's do this, and we are going to do it this way. So the trust is one thing, but there are some other films where there is an adventure of we start the day and we really don't know what film we are going to do. This time it's really trusting each other, right?
Yeah.
And you don't give this trust to anybody, but when you give it, it's really nice. It's precious. Yeah.
But tell me about your memories of working with Antonioni and Wim Wenders.
So that was really. I felt really gifted when I received this offer of working with Antonioni. He had seen Red, and Wim Wenders was helping Antonioni to make his film because he was he had a stroke and he had problems of talk.
That's real trust as well, isn't it?
That's right, but I think you can trust. I mean, what I trusted immediately is that even though he had problems to speak or to move, his mind was completely free and independent. It was like he knew exactly what he wanted, and this is the trust was that he was completely there. And Wim was very generous, Wim Wenders, on this film because he was helping, to construct the shots that would imagine Antonioni, and he would do only the films between the films independently. Because I think when Wim Wenders or Antonioni, they are directors that are so intuitive. They cannot, they didn't feel like, Antonioni didn't feel he could share designing a shot. It's something too personal. So he could give part of the story for Wim, but he couldn't, his stories, he had to do it his own. And the way he was doing it, just to say a quick word, is that we would do the scene and he was drawing the shot because Antonioni is very famous for his plan séquence. How you say it in English?
I don't know, to be honest.
It's a long shot instead of an edited shot. It's one long shot. And so he was drawing the shot on the day, and then we had to do this shot, rehearse it a long time, and could be maybe, I don't know, 7 minutes the shot, and that was it. It was not like he was editing it all the time. And with Krzysztof Kieślowski, it was completely different because Krzysztof Kieślowski really loved editing. So he was really designing many shots so that he could also work on the editing table, and he said that it was a work that he really loved. So Antonioni, he had no editing work. One shot plus this shot plus it, because he was doing.
It's just one, yeah.
This it was a dance. It's very. It was amazing to participate in very different experiences like this. Yeah.
Music has obviously been a large thing through your career. You graduated from Geneva Conservatory, and it appears in a lot of your films. But I wondered if there was a difference between performing music as you and performing music when you're playing a character in a film.
Well, it's sometimes I've played like in Double Life of Veronica singer, and I'm not as a good singer as the person I'm doing, or a cello with Hugh Hudson, or a piano with Will Wimal. I think I love to play music. Music is a universal language.
Mm-hmm.
I love to listen to music in the morning before I go on a set. It inspires me. It touches you immediately. It touches your emotions on like the light in a second. So it's not a reasonable thing. You put music.
It's abstract.
And it's not abstract because you feel it in your bones. You want to get physical about it immediately sometimes, so I think I like that it's not rational. It is, it's not something you discuss. It's just something you just feel and yeah.
Is acting like that for you?
It should be. It should be. It's. Sometimes I have to give. That's my approach. I admire those who don't need to have this approach, but sometimes I start with an approach where I start to read a lot, think a lot, see a lot. So it's a research also, and then once I feel a bit more familiar with the world I'm talking about or I'm living into, then maybe something out of a reason can happen. But first, there is a first step where you give a lot of time researching, studying. But it's a nice time for reading books, watching, meeting some people in a particular profession or world.
That's good work.
Yeah, no, it's nice. Yeah.